We always hear about the overnight successes, right? But what about the stories that are forged in failure? So today we're going to dive into a really powerful story about how losing absolutely everything can actually be the first step to finding your true purpose.
Okay, picture this. It's early in the morning on a quiet street. A woman is standing in her driveway, and she's just watching a tow truck haul away her wheelchair-accessible van. And this wasn't just any vehicle. It was her entire business, her dream, being repossessed right there in front of everyone. Yeah, this is rock bottom for a woman named Welena McGee.
And right there, in that moment of just total defeat, Welena gives us a little glimpse of the lesson that's coming. Of course, the experience was crushing, but it was also the beginning of something profound. That contrast, humiliating and humbling, that's the key to this whole story.
So how in the world did she get here? Let's back up a bit. Go to the beginning. See, before all this, there was a dream. Welena was a registered nurse, passionate about helping people, and she saw this huge need in her community that she was determined to fill.
And here's what's so interesting, right? The contrast. Welena had the medical side down, no question, but she launched a non-emergency medical transportation, or NEMT business, right at the peak of the pandemic. She was about to learn a tough lesson. Knowing how to save lives and knowing how to run a healthcare business, totally different ballgames.
Look, starting any business is a gamble, but most people, they don't realize just how stacked the odds really are. Welena was walking into a game with some really brutal statistics that, honestly, most of us never even think about. So get this. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, more than 1 in 5 new businesses fail within the first year. I mean, that's a huge hurdle right from day one. And believe me, it doesn't get any easier.
Right, and it keeps going. Within 5 years, nearly half of all new businesses are just gone. Think about that. Almost half of them disappear. And for a complex, super regulated field like NEMT, the odds were probably even worse. This was the reality she was up against.
Okay, so stats are one thing, but what actually happened to her business? It's easy to talk about numbers, but let's really break down the real-world stuff that made it all fall apart.
Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was a total perfect storm. Launching during COVID, terrible timing. She was drowning in complex regulations and insurance paperwork. She's the first to admit she made some bad financial calls. And this is the big one. She had no mentor, nobody who really got the NEMT industry. By the time she hired a coach, it was just too late. And her own words just hit you. You can feel how final it was. The dream wasn't just towed away. It ended in complete financial ruin. The end of a chapter and a very public, very painful end to a dream.
But this is where the whole story takes a turn. Because, sometimes when everything completely falls apart, you can finally see things with total clarity. And from the absolute wreckage of her business, something new, something powerful started to click into place.
This was the big light bulb moment for her. She realized the biggest gap in the market wasn't another transport company. No, the real need was for someone to guide new founders through the exact same minefield that blew up her business. It was her failure that gave her this incredible, unique insight that, someone who'd only ever succeeded just couldn't have. And this right here, this really shows you the whole journey. From a founder who knew medicine but got blindsided by business, to a coach who now gets the entire NEMT world, inside and out. I mean, she literally flipped the script and turned her biggest weakness into her greatest strength.
So what do you do with a realization like that? She built a brand new business. But this time, she built it not on cash or loans, but on the hard-won lessons from her bankruptcy. She became the NEM startup coach.
And just look at where she is today. Founder of a successful coaching business, she's on the board of an accreditation agency, she's going for her MBA. She has become the exact person she desperately needed when she was first starting out.
So the course she teaches, it's basically the roadmap she wishes she'd had. Every single one of these steps, from proper market research to getting the legal stuff right to planning for those frustrating payment delays, this is the stuff that makes or breaks a business.
But you can see it's not just about the nuts and bolts, right? This quote really gets to the heart of it. It's about providing a whole support system, the feedback, the motivation, the accountability. It's that human element she never had.
Okay, so this is an amazing comeback story, for sure. But it's actually bigger than that. Her new mission, it ties right back to the original reason she started this whole thing in the first place, to solve a massive problem in our society.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They're staggering. We're talking about millions of Americans who can't get to a doctor's appointment, can't get to physical therapy, just because they don't have a reliable ride. This is the critical transportation gap we're talking about.
And this is where it all comes together. It's so powerful. Welina couldn't save her one van, her one business. But now, by helping dozens of other NEMT businesses get off the ground the right way, her impact is just multiplied. It's exponential. She's helping close that gap on a scale she never could have on her own.
This quote it sums up everything perfectly. Her expertise didn't come from a textbook or an easy win. It was forged in the fire of failure. And that's what makes it so real, so valuable.
So all of this leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. We're always taught to measure success by what we achieve, right? By the wins. But what if the truest measure of our strength, of our purpose, and maybe our ultimate success isn't found in what we achieve, but in what we manage to survive?